Hello, my friend, and welcome to the 416th episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Tonight, I've been drinking a little Jameson's Irish whiskey. So, the intro is going to be short and sweet. But today we've got Amber Vilhauer. She is out of the Denver area. The subject or the title on the blog notes is Discover and Deploy the Better, Faster Way with Amber Vilhauer. And we get into how to be smart, efficient, and effective in getting the word out. I was on her podcast as well. If you look her up, if you read her story on her Facebook page, you will fall in love with Amber. An amazing story, and how she turned things around when she was young is truly inspiring. But we get into how to stay organized, how to get things done faster, how she delegates to both have a documented process historically, right? Not only for the current staff, but for future staff, because there will always be turnover. And so how she can archive things like that has made her a lot more efficient. I love her customer journey, how she has repurposed things on the blog post itself. I link over to episode 286, where I had Anna Hoffman on. She is the queen of repurposing, but Amber is doing a great job of that as well. So we get into, how to leverage the scale, how to use VAs, and a whole lot more. So you're in for a treat with this episode. I have also just updated. It's been a couple of years, and hey, we are all flawed in our own ways, all right? Don't judge me. But I did update my tool belt, what's on my tool belt. It was a great lead magnet for me a couple years ago. And man, I spent a week on this thing updating. I couldn't believe how many more things I'm using. And so you can get that if you go just to thesaleswhisperer.com. You'll see the pop-up. And it's a free tool. It's 12 pages of actual reviews. The whole thing, I think, is 16 pages. But big font, a lot of pictures, so easy to get through, and links to everything from how I capture leads, the tools that I use for sending video emails, how I'm getting more leads on LinkedIn, CRM, shopping carts, a whole lot more. Okay, so check that out. Again, just go to thesaleswhisperer.com. I've got a new pop-up right there. It'll take you right to the tool belt, and that's free. And I link also within that report to my process before login. That's a free video. It's a free PDF download to help you get things squared away. I talk about the best CRM for me quiz. So all these things are free. So all I ask that you listen, download the tools. If you want to talk, hit me up. There's a link there to get on my calendar. But all of this I do to put food on the table for my family. So when you get the report, there are affiliate links in there. Please click those. You don't pay any more for whatever you buy. Those companies send me a few nickels. Okay, some of those I link to Amazon as well. Also, if you take the CRM quiz, those links on there link out to affiliate links, except HubSpot. HubSpot does not have an affiliate program, so just let me know if you're interested. You can just send an email. I can register you as my lead, and then I'm not going to be spamming you or anything, but at least if you ever do buy something, I'll get credit. All right, so they'll come back to me, and that's how I put food on the table. Okay. The other way is through various programs. You've heard me talk about before the 30-Day Sales Growth Program, 30daysalesgrowth.com. I also do keynote speaking. So if you need a speaker for your quarterly or annual event, please consider me for that. And then some private coaching. So I'm going to be doing more of that in 2020. So if you're looking for a private coach to kick your butt and inspire you, I'm your man. But now let's bring on the woman, Amber. All right. So we got a lot of things to talk about, not a lot of time. So you run NG Enterprises, AmberVilhauer.com, and like 2 other bits, right? How do you get so much done?
Well, when I started my business back in 2007, I was kind of all things to all people. And you can only grow with that mindset to a certain point until you completely burn out.
Yep.
And as I was approaching burnout, I thought there has to be a better way. And then I had to re-engineer my entire business model because, I needed to find ways to get more done, less time, but without sacrifice quality, because I am a stickler for quality. I want, I have really high expectations of myself. I want an excellent customer experience, all the stuff. So I just started to fall in love with the idea of systems and procedures, which is not sexy talk. I mean, but it's true. Like once you really start to document how you do things and why you're doing them in a certain way, it frees you up to then delegate that off to somebody else. And they're going to hit it with 80-90% accuracy, probably. You have to let the other 10% or so go. But honestly, that was a big piece of how I'm able to do so much, is just having those systems and procedures. But also I am a big fan of the way that I stay organized in my to-do list. A lot of people start their morning with sitting down and mapping out their day. I actually do that at the end of the day and I map out the next day so that when I end the workday today, I will brain dump everything onto my to-do list for the next day. And the nice thing about that is when I leave my office, I'm not sitting there like everybody else thinking, oh, I got to remember to do this. Oh, I got to remember to do that. I get more time to be present with my family and just enjoy them without my mind being full. I'm sleeping better. And then I know that all of those notes are waiting me the next morning. So between those two things, it's really been a game changer.
Are you a pen and paper do list person?
Oh man,
virtual?
I sure am. Look at this. I've got.
Oh my
I'm not
goodness.
only pen and paper. I'm like colored pens, man, and sticky notes. I'm girly in that sense, but I'm also very visual. So I have so many different things going on. Website agency, flagship marketing product, do book launches for clients. I have my own live events. I'm doing speaking on stages or on podcasts or live streaming. Like there's a lot of, I'm writing a book. There's so many different things going on that for me, if I can compartmentalize it by color, it actually helps me feel more at ease. I'm not looking at this line item of 200 things to do. Instead, I'm looking at one area of the business in one color. And I'm like, oh, that's achievable. Cool. So it's really just tricking myself, probably more than anything.
So do you have 4 notebooks for each of your 4 businesses, or do you have one notebook and you use your tab, your colored sticky notes to know?
I want somebody to like buy me custom sticky notes and just mail them to me as a result of this episode. Something really creative. I'll promote them all over the place, make you rich. Yeah, it's just one notebook that I keep everything in. It's like a business journal. So if I'm on a call with a publishing company or I'm watching a really cool YouTube video or I'm reading a book, I'll still take notes in the same journal as I do like a weekly overview of all of my to-dos. And then I actually have a separate to-do book that's just for the day where I'll keep notes of the calls that I have throughout the day. I'm on the phone constantly by choice. And so, I take notes based on the calls that I'm having, and I have my few items that I need to get done that day. And it just helps me stay on track during the day, whereas my business journal is once a week.
So how do you, I got you. Hold on. Once a week, but all right. So every night is your to-do journal, and then every week is business journal.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Because like the once a week, I'll sit down. It usually takes me an hour. Sometimes it'll take me 90 minutes to map out all of the projects across the entire company, like all 4 divisions. And so that takes me about 60, 90 minutes to wrap my head around everything that's going on around the whole company. But then once a day, if I were to look at that every day, it would overwhelm me. So instead, I just have these are the few things I need to knock out today, Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, to help me stay on track overall. Yeah.
And now how do you delegate paper, right? I'm a big fan of typing. I mean, I'm a good typer, typist, call it.
Typist, yeah.
Yeah. Louisiana, English was an elective. Don't judge me. And so, I'll type things out so I can then share them. I can post it to our project management board and quickly get it to my team. And then I lose my mind. Like right now, I'm onboarding a new team to help with the podcast. They couldn't log in with LastPass, so then you lose the whole weekend. It's like, now they still can't. Now I got to change the password for LastPass. I'm like,
oh my gosh,
I
know. It's a
mind on
nightmare.
little things like that, right? I'm like, really? Oh.
It's a nightmare. But I'm really glad that you asked. There's a few different things that I do depending on the circumstance. Most of my video, I do it it mostly with video. So I can record, here's a 5-minute video on how I want you to manage my Facebook comments on Facebook ad, and then now I have it documented so they can visually see examples. I'm talking about them and I can just archive that. So now I have a library of these different videos on how to do different things. Sometimes I've recorded 2-hour videos on a customer journey for when we onboard this specific type of client. Here is every single email, every single step, who they're going to talk to, when it's due, how I want it done, blah, 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 blah. 2 hours of this video. And then usually what I'll do is I'll get that transcribed and then have somebody turn it into a text-based SOP. And she will then map out the timestamps where I'm talking about each phase so that if somebody wants to go back and also watch the video, they can. So I do a lot of video work, Wes. I am constantly recording video. The other thing that I do that's been a game changer this year, and I have to give full credit to my pal, Mike McCallowitz, for this one. He introduced me to this app on my phone called Voxer. And basically it's like a walkie-talkie type app. And so what I'll do is, this is so powerful when I only have a quick minute in between calls, or I'm on the road and I'm, not wanting to be too distracted or whatever. And I'll just pick up the phone and send a quick audio message to a team member asking, hey, can you do this certain thing? Here's how I want it done. Or can you document it this way? Bam, they get it in audio, and then it's up to them to transcribe it, document it in the way that they know I want it done. So video and audio has been very powerful because writing is just somebody slowing down too much now.
All right. I did have that. Maybe I don't know. So that's better than like WhatsApp or whatever else.
You just have to find what works for you. In fact, it's funny. When Mike started using Voxer with me, I hated it at first, and it was really hard for me to overcome just that concept. But once I gave into it, I saw the power behind it, and it's been like a setting changer. I haven't used WhatsApp, if you believe that. So there's all kinds of different options out there, but you do have to always be asking yourself, there's got to be a better way. What's the faster way that I can do this and without sacrificing the quality? And that's why I like video so much, because, especially with my line of work, we're building websites, right? So I can't, if I were to write out a text document of how I want a certain web page designed, that's open to interpretation. But if I visually show them what I want and why, it's faster for everybody. The other thing that I really like about video is that the viewer can watch it on double speed to save their time, right? So it's kind of weird. It's not like I want to operate my life by the clock, but at the same time, like, dude, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, like I'm running this business, I'm responsible for a team and tons of clients. So time matters to me. And the older I get, the more each minute counts, because I realize that each minute is so precious. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the fastest way all the time in anything that I'm doing. And as soon as I realize I've done something more than twice, then that's an opportunity to delegate that out eventually. So I explore that and think, could I delegate this? Would I want to? Or do I just really enjoy it and I want to do it myself? But at least conditioning your mind to thinking about that on everything you do is the first step.
I didn't realize you were such a sicko. Build
So
websites.
I'm totally a sicko, dude.
You build websites? What a glutton for punishment. You're a freak of nature.
You'll love this. So I was at a conference like 14 years ago. I was running it. I was like the event planner. And all of these internet marketers came in to talk about how to build your business online. And I thought, I didn't even know what a blog was back then. I was super green. And yet I was watching them. I thought, wow, this is really challenging, which suits my personality. So I went out after that conference and I taught myself code. And then I set up my own website, and I'm learning about SEO and copywriting, conversion, ebooks and digital products, like total self-starter, learned it all myself, didn't buy into anybody's courses or programs. Google is awesome. And as soon as I could prove that something was effective, I'd open it up as a service. So I thought I could build websites for other people. So I opened it up as a service. And now all these years later, we've built like 700 of them. Now, I don't do it anymore, but I do still know code. So, and yes, it's horrible.
Can you make the logo a little bigger?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're crazy.
I've heard it all. There's a really funny infographic by Oatmeal. It's like a brand out there. And it's this one about how an average design project goes, and the designer is like all tweaked out because the client is like, I just need more life to it. I want it to be more playful. And the designer's like, what the hell does that even mean?
Yep.
But
Always.
luckily, I work with the best people on the planet. So authors, speakers, and coaches are such joy to work with, seriously. So I don't have a lot of problems that we'll have.
Well, so speaking of websites, what is a good website, right? I see all these, I don't know, talking about SEO, like Neil Patel and guys are like, put a lot of content, right? Keywords are important, epic blog posts, but then like his homepage is very clean, very simple, clear cut option. You know, others are like, gotta have moving images. You gotta have, the slide,
Yeah, slider, you're right.
the slider, yeah, the carousel, right?
Yeah,
Rotate.
carousel.
I mean, I don't see very many people talk about copyright. I mean, I'm big on like words matter, but everybody seems to say we have the attention span of goldfish and blah blah blah. So, what's a good website today?
It depends on who you are. So first, you have to do you. And if you look at somebody's website with the rotating images and the flashing video, and it's a turnoff to you and that bugs you, then you should not include it in your website, even if everybody else is saying that's the thing to do. So at the end of the day, you have to do you. What separates me from most other website designers is that I can build a site that looks good, but I can also build a website that gets you results, meaning that people are taking some sort of action on your website. And we want to focus on one primary thing you want to do, whether it's pick up the phone and call you, join your email list, send an email through your contact form. Most designers just know how to design. They have no clue about the customer's journey or how to have any sort of impact with copywriting, as you mentioned. So my work combines the two. And I will say that at this day and age, in general, you really want a website that is more experiential and that does have clear, succinct content, which is why I really appreciate Donald Miller of StoryBrand, now Business Made Simple, because he was the one that kind of woke the online world up, reminded us all of how much words do matter, and that we need to make it about the customer, not about ourselves, and that you need to have less content, not more. Now, this is challenging because search engine optimization taught us that we do need those epic blog posts packed with all the keywords and content is king. That's still true, but the average person does have the attention span of a goldfish and they're not going to read all of those blog posts. But I'll tell you this, the blog still has an incredibly important purpose, and that is it's the bait that gets people back to your website. Once they're on your website and can experience you, whether that's through imagery or simplicity or video or not, and you're making it really clear what it is that you do and how people can take action with you, then you're going to have a website that actually, gets you results.
Do that for fun? For a living?
All
For work?
day long. I freaking love it, man. I love, because I have this ability, Wes, to the minute I meet somebody, I can really tell who they really are. It's just like an energetic thing, not to go woo, but it is kind of woo. I can really tell a lot about a person quickly, and sometimes more than they even realize about themselves. And as an author, speaker, coach, like they're visionaries, they're creatives, but they have a really hard time looking word and understanding what their real gifts are. But I can see it very quickly. So that's why we make such a great partnership. And basically, if I can produce a website that is an extension of who you are, that's so exciting to me. I mean, truly, because each author, speaker, coach that I work with, they have a positive message they want to share with the world. They want to make the world a better place, and so do I. So if I can help you articulate and bring out that life in you onto this website, which by the way is everybody's first impression of you. I think people don't even begin to realize how important the website is in your overall business. If your website is not an accurate reflection of who you are and what you do, shame on you. Go get a redesign immediately. But it is. It's really great work. It's very rewarding. And the impact that I get to have on the world of my clients means so much.
How do you get them to pay what it's worth, though? Usually they want this for like $99.
Depends on who you're targeting. I used to have clients that were like $1,000 for a website. Oh my gosh. I could just go to, Fiverr and get one done. It's like, okay, buddy, go ahead. But now, my mindset has evolved. I really have built so many websites that I actually know what it takes to get results. And so there's a value associated with that. And money is just an exchange of value. My average website is going to be somewhere between $9,000, which actually is pretty middle of the road for where things are right now. Because you can go get websites for $20,000, $50,000 plus. You can get websites that have less design appeal and no strategy for probably around $4,000. So I try to stay competitive, but there's also an insane amount of value attached with any of my services.
So once a site is built, how long, what's the shelf life of a website?
Great question. And it depends. A shelf life on my website is a max of 2 years before that website just looks outdated. But I have clients that our website that we built for them has spanned 7 to 10 years and it's still going strong in their industry. It's very industry specific. Of course, as a website designer, I have to be on the leading edge. Like I have to constantly refreshing my look to show people what's current, what's trending, what their options are. But if you're a dentist or something, then you're good for a while.
Gotcha. So once this site is built, I'm glad you mentioned dentists. I usually use a chiropractor as an example. A friend of mine in my 30-day sales growth group I just use him because if it can work for a chiropractor, it can probably work for anybody. Because healthcare, you're like, what are you really going to blog about? I mean, are people really looking on a blog for dental care? But realistically, I would say they are research things. But most people are terrible at content. Once the site is built, they probably don't want to touch it 2 years. Most of them, they're not going to. They don't know how to write. They don't want to learn how to log into the system. If they do, they might break it. So, I mean, how do you keep it updated?
I love your question, Wes. Thank you. They're great. So a few things there. Remember that the blog needs to be updated because that's your bait getting people back to the website. And especially if you're a dentist or a chiropractor, this is going to help build up local organic search engine traffic, social media traffic as well. So with content marketing, which is putting content out into the world for free, right? Give people to come back to your website. It has to be done weekly, consistent. Otherwise, you're not going to get the traction that you need with Google or with social networks to make it worth it. So you have to commit to it. I agree. Most people in business in general aren't very good at content. They're not consistent. They want to focus on dentistry or chiropractor or massage therapy or wellness or whatever it is, right? They don't want to be stuck logging. And I know this. And frankly, I don't even want to do it either. And this is like one of my strengths. So I actually, back in the days before repurposing was as popular as it is today, what I did is I would create these simple little tip videos. And I have a process for teaching you how to do this to where anybody do it seriously and do it well. So if I can get you to create like a small batch of say 4 little tip videos, maybe they're like 3 minutes a piece on how to do X or, how to recover from a chiropractic, session, how to do stretching exercises, right? Whatever it is, little how-tos. What I did is I would create a short little batch of tip videos and then I documented a process to allow my team to repurpose those videos and get my weekly blog post written and published on my website with search engine optimization included in it. I asked them to repurpose that to send a weekly email to my email list so that my email list was getting nurtured every single week with educational content, reminded to come back to the website. Then in part of this process, I documented out, I said, okay, team, I also want you to do my social media daily, a few times a day. Here's how you could do that. These are the different post types, the frequency, etc. Gave them examples. And then I even asked them to, document the growth metrics so I could finally see what was happening in my business. So basically, all I had to do was record these videos and I'd give them to my team and the rest of my content marketing was done for the next month. And I thought, wow, this is really awesome. I didn't have to think about any of that stuff. So then I kept, amping it up, and then I would do 30 videos at a time in an afternoon. And then I wouldn't have to think my marketing for a year, and it was just done, and it was done right. And now this is what I give to business owners, Wes. I have a flagship product called Leverage to Scale that is the documentation on how your team can do all of your content marketing for you. So I train you in 30 minutes or less. Here's how you create these short little tip videos effective. Then you give those to your team, and I give the instructions to your team on what I want them to do with that video work. You don't have to about the rest. And so I know that most business owners aren't good at making systems and procedures. So this really it pulls everything together. So the average dentist absolutely can achieve that amount of exposure. And the last thing that I'll add, a hidden thing that most people don't think about is that when you're putting out weekly content like this, it's not just to educate your audience or bring them back to the website. It's also to display that you are a credible global expert and you are an authority in your industry. So remember that piece. I personally don't care if anybody reads my blog posts, but what's going to happen is they're going to see that I have so much content out there and they're going to think, wow, she really knows what she's doing. I need to hire her. So it's less about the reading and it's more about what it looks like. I mean, you still want to have good content, man, but I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. Know that it's work, right? Because you look at bounce rate and time on page and click-throughs and just opt-in, right? Generating leads when you're not worried about them reading it and even sharing, right? I mean, if things get shared, social media or what have you. So, I mean, it's kind of two schools of thought. I know what you're saying, but it seems like it's a little counterintuitive or a little countercultural, if you will, in the marketing world today. You know what I'm saying? It's like part of me likes what you're saying. Part of me is mortified by what you're saying.
Well, let's dig into the
You don't care if people don't read. I mean, I'm a writer. I'm a storyteller.
I'm not saying I don't care about it. Of course, I want people to read my content.
No, I get what you mean. But if it furthers the cause, which is for them to connect with you and buy, yeah. Like I mail my book out. I know most people won't read it. They don't throw it away either. They set it on the shelf. And
exactly.
there's a little subconscious Wes every day saying, hey, you should call Wes. Hey, your sales
it's kind of like that. That's exactly how you should do it. There are definitely a percentage of people that read every single newsletter that I send. They watch every single video. And I freaking love those people. It's like amazing. And then there are a percentage of people that are going to look at it, think, wow, she knows what she's doing. I'm just going to hire her. So I sort of fit all of the need then that way. But it's working because first of all, VAs are tracking your results every week. So we've been live with this system for since last June. So it's like 16, 17, 18 months, whatever it's been. And I've been able to see week after week after week of all of these members in all these different industries, been able to see their results grow week after week. Here's the thing. I didn't come up with the idea for content marketing. That's been around since as long as the internet's been around, right? Content's the backbone of the internet. That's why this was one of the safest things that I could create, because I know with content marketing, the more you do it, the more you're going to benefit from it. So that process is going to work either way. My value to this is that I put it into a system of procedures that virtual assistants can plug into. Here's the thing. Most business owners have a totally dysfunctional relationship with their VA because business owners say, oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm so stressed and overwhelmed. I just need you to do my social media thing. And the VA is over here like, okay, I'm happy to do that, but how would you like it done? How often would you like it done? Is there anything else I should know? Do you have any tools that you want me to use? VAs need structure. Business owners don't have the time and sometimes don't have the know-how to give them the structure that they need to set them up for success. And so then business owner fires VA saying, well, I guess she didn't know what the hell she was doing, so I'll hire another one and see if that works. When really the business owner just needed structure. So I come in saying, I have the structure for you and I'm going to allow your VA to do all of this work for you in a fraction of the time that it would have taken her otherwise without sacrificing quality, because that's my gift. And so I applied that gift to this process and help all over this.
So are you teaching business owners how to do this, or are you just doing it for them?
Doing it for them because they don't really care. It's not sexy and they already have too many things to do anyway. So if I can come in, by the way, I'm doing this all the time, Wes, in my book launch side of things too. I have people hiring me to market and launch their books and making them bestsellers. So in the process of doing dozens of these, I have, like, for example, I created a 35-page podcast protocol that has two purposes. Number one, it helps you vet inquiries coming in of people saying, Wes, can you be on my podcast? And now your virtual assistant can vet those people for you based on a criteria that we have so that you're just getting on the right shows. So that's number one. Number two is that if we want this author to go get on top rated book podcasts, how do we do that? And so then there's like 20 pages of step by step by step of how that virtual assistant do outreach, prepare you for the interview, do pre-promotion for the interview, and then post-promotion, how we send a thank you gift to the podcast host, how we archive it, leverage it, repurpose it, right? So all of that now is in this document that I give to my book launch clients. And they love it, man. They freaking dig it because they're not going to ever sit down to do that on their own. Give me a break. So they're just going to spin their wheels, and all of the hours and hours and hours and hours are going to pile up, and they're going to be more stressed and more overwhelmed. So I see the need. I just come in and I do it. And I say, okay, now business owner and VA can work in harmony, get more done.
Right. All right. Let's go back to content. Can we go back to content?
I'd love to.
You know what I'm talking? Because I've, golly, last year plus, almost 2 years now, if I really back look, I have spent much less time making new content versus refreshing old content.
Smart.
All right, good. I just want to say
Both serve a purpose, right? But too many people let their old content die. And it's like, why? You worked really hard on that. You spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah, because I mean, I've seen different guys. Do you know Brian Dean with Backlinko?
Yes.
Super smart guy, SEO guy. And he talked about just on like his YouTube channel, how he just, I don't know if he deleted a bunch or just focused on just creating great stuff, but just very sporadically. I think cut a bunch and like his traffic exploded, just by really focusing. And I think if people are struggling with content, if they don't have the budget right now to hire you, is it okay to maybe, like if they're struggling, like, all right, once a month, make good content. If nothing else, okay, you go a year, you got 12 pieces of good content. Now all that needs to be updated and or it could be chopped apart, made or recycled and expanded upon. So now you got 12 you can refresh and now you make 12 new ones. So now it looks like you're doing one every 2 weeks, and then if you continue that cycle, you got a lot of content. Granted, it would take a little while, take you 2 years to get where you need to be. But, it's something like that, maybe on an accelerated pace. But I mean, is that a viable process?
My feeling is that there's no wrong path, right? We can be successful doing it any way that we really want. I do believe that there are certain things that should be done in terms of online marketing if you want to grow that reach and see success with it. So if you're just doing it once a month, I think you're going to have a really hard time getting organic traffic to that. At this stage of your career, Wes, you have a platform. So you could absolutely just do it once a month and, you could rely on the fact that you're still going to get organic traffic through Google because you have history with Google and YouTube and social media. But if I'm just starting out, that once a month isn't going to do anything for you. So I'd rather you spend that time and hit the pavement offline, generate some sales so that you can afford to get some marketing help so that you're doing it weekly. I mean, you have to build up a history with it.
I might have a sales program for that.
There you go, right? So yeah, I do think that when it comes to online marketing, especially in the first 3 to 5 years, I feel like you need to try to do it weekly. And in the sales side of things, I think that's where you can do whatever you want. Like whatever brings you joy, you make money doing that piece. Marketing is a little bit different. Sometimes there's more have-tos in that area.
So what is good marketing? Is it paid social media? Is it paying for podcast promotions? Is it trade shows? I mean, it seems chaotic, right? Don't need to be retargeting. Now I hear Google's changing their algorithm and now Twitter's going to remove political ads and this right to be forgotten. So Facebook and others eventually going to, all that's going away. I'm seeing people in some very smart PCP talking about how the really tight narrowing down the custom audience is really changing for the better for the consumer, for the worse for the marketer. I mean, what's marketing going to be in 2020?
I think marketing is constantly going to change, of course. That's a given. But the thing that's not going to change about what makes a business successful is relationships. So I would say focus on relationships first. Now, if I'm trying to focus on relationships in the online world, since that's digital, it's a little trickier, right? Because if I were just to bump into you at a conference, then there is something about that face-to-face interaction that can be more magical or the conversation can progress faster, right? Where we're deepening that relationship in a faster way. Online, it's harder. And this is why I am such an advocate for video. I mean, seriously, I constantly talk about video. I couldn't even guess how many videos every week I'm creating. So many. Just yesterday, I recorded probably 5 or 6 hours of video. So it's constant.
To be used in marketing?
Most of those actually were sales and fulfillment to help speed things up there, make more like efficient time of my sales and onboarding process.
So it's internal video.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's videos all over the place marketing wise that I've done both on social media and on YouTube. I'm constantly doing live streaming. And the reason for that is because video is the best way to make personal connection in a digital world. It's better than audio. It's better than text because you can actually see and you can see my smile and I'm transferring that enthusiasm to you and you're feeling that. And people buy based on their emotions, as you know, and who they know, like, and trust. And when you can see me, there's a different element of trust being built, right? Because you can see my facial expressions, you can hear my voice in a different way. And all of that is creating an impact. So I believe, what are we supposed to do in 2020? Freaking video everywhere. Video-based podcasts. I want you live streaming all the time as much as you're willing and able to.
Really?
Doing pre-recorded videos on YouTube. I want you doing video-based stories on on your Instagram. I want video all over your website so that when somebody lands on that website, you introduce yourself on video. You're guiding them to your services page where there's another video talking about fulfillment. You're inviting them to a call where the call reminder email has a video. The thank you page has a video, like video, I'm telling you, because that's going to be the fastest way to build that relationship. And it's relationships that really sell a business.
All right. Here's where I struggle with this. Because part of me, I understand the importance, but I feel like it's like a drug dealer just making the drug you're to get, we're going to jump on. Like I see people all the time, I got Facebook open and all these people are going live. I'm like, who the hell has time to just stop what they're doing and watch somebody go live? Am I really bringing value on some just, hey, turn your phone on, scroll through Instagram, stop your scroll, watch me. It's like, I don't know. I don't do it. I don't just stop and watch somebody. I'm focused. I got stuff to do.
Well, then
I know my customers.
I'm going to hold you accountable to this, man. Have you ever watched a replay of a live stream ever?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
The replays for sure. But I know there's a lot of people that engage live. I feel like kind of preying on the weaknesses of my prospect. Don't want to pick up phone. They don't want to be doing the hard work. They're putting off what they need to get done and they're hanging out watching a video, so it's like, I'm just torn on that, but I know others are doing it. So it's like, well, do I join the fray? At least give them an option.
I think you experiment with it and see how you feel about it. You can't judge it until you try it though, for an extended period of time. Even if you tried to do it once a week for a month, then evaluate it, see what you feel about it. There's a small percentage of people that actually watch live and a lot of people that watch the replay. Then I take that replay, optimize it on YouTube, have my team craft a blog post and embed it on a blog post on my website, and then repurpose that through social media and my email list. So it just continues to live on. But yeah, live streaming is, I'm telling you, because think about it. Would you rather go to a conference to hear your favorite person speak live, or would you rather just buy the recording and then probably never get to it? That's
a leading question. Objection, leading the witness, Your Honor.
That's one way you can look at it too, because we all have so much content that we want to get to, but come on, you and I both know that if you mark that as save for later, you're not ever going to get to it, guaranteed.
So do you schedule these? Do you put this out to your list and say, hey, Thursday at noon, we're going live, or do you just go live?
Most of the time I schedule them. And so I've got two, I've got one tomorrow and one on Thursday, and I've made Facebook event pages for them. And I've actually promoted these particular ones through my email list and all over social media. I bought Facebook ads for them because these are really important ones that I want more exposure for. On a typical one, I will do some pre-promotion, but maybe not as aggressively. It just kind of depends. You can't burn out your list, right? And so it just depends, but I'm doing them regularly. And honestly, I'm really enjoying them, probably for the same reason that you enjoy your podcast. I'm almost always interviewing somebody with me, somebody that's really cool or unique. It's a great way for me to introduce my audience to other experts that I believe in and have, rapport with, people that I trust and like. But it's just fun. So right. I enjoy it.
Cool. So when is your book coming out?
The goal is fall of 2021. And so I'm doing hardcore writing of it between January and June of 2020. And
man, why so far out? Why 2 years?
I want ample time to market and pair. The number one mistake that authors make is that they get their book complete and they're like, okay, now what do I do with it? I have two clients that I'm working with right now that we're in a year-long contract. They're hiring me for a year to market and prepare for their one-day launch, right? So it just depends on what goals you have. I have clients that their goal is to maybe hit number one on Amazon and sell 500 copies of the book, which case I say you need a bigger goal. And then I have clients that they will be on New York Times and Wall Street Journal lists, and they are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars into their launch. And this is going to be a complete business game changer.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing that kind of, jaded me on that industry. Because when I learned that little secret, it was around 2012. I was actually at an Infusionsoft conference, and I was having lunch with a lady that I know and very successful, at least commercially. And we talked about that. He said, yeah, you got a couple $100,000, 300, 400,000, you can have a bestseller guaranteed. And I was like, that sucks. That sucks. That sucks in my opinion, right? Throw enough money at it and you fix it. It's like, is there another way?
I care more about the longevity of that book. I do think that hitting number one is an important designation for certain people in certain industries that have certain long-term career goals, especially if they're going to be big time, powerful speakers. It's kind of an important notch to have in your belt. But I also, like, my approach to book launch is, how are we setting the business up for success? And this is what makes me different than almost any other book launch coordinator I've heard of, is that I am building, again, systems and procedures in the company that are going to live well beyond that book launch. I am supporting my clients in coming up with a monetization model for their company that they can leverage that book to get more speaking or fill workshops or whatever it is. And then I'm thinking, how can we continue to sell the book weekly, ongoing? I mean, you're looking at Mike Michalowicz right now. Profit First is selling 2,000 copies a week or something like that. It's just, it's just ongoing sales. That's what you want. You didn't just work that hard on a book to have a little blip of a launch and then wonder what the next thing is. You got to keep pushing it, market it.
Right. Very cool. All right. Our hour is up. Time flies when you're having fun.
Did you have fun, Wes? Did you have fun?
Hey, I asked the questions here. All right. I'll be turning things around. You missed your chance asking yours. All right. So where do we send people, huh? Where do you want them to go?
AmberVilhauer.com. I know that's kind of a tricky last name, but it's Vilhauer. Or Google me. I'm all over the place. Just connect with me. I'm super easy, casual to talk to, and just reach out anytime because there's a lot of value that I'm excited to give.
Nice. And you've done it today. All right.
Thanks,
Amber Vilhauer, all the way from Colorado. Thanks for coming on the show. Are you seen as the expert? If not, reach out to Amber. If she's full, reach out to me. But you've got to be seen as the expert. It does you no good to be the second place or the second most expensive or the second least expensive. Okay? You are either the low-cost provider or the high-cost provider. Being seen as the expert is the way to make the most income and have a life. All right? Now here comes Ava. She's been out all night. She's bringing me something. Oh my, what is that? Peppers. All right, she's bringing me peppers. So that means we've got to wrap this thing up. But like I was saying, you need to be seen as the expert. Otherwise, you are just fighting for scraps. It's too hard of a struggle. It's too much effort. And it's just not worth it. So go back and listen to this. Check out her 35-page podcast protocol, although I don't think she gives it away. I think you got to hire her to do that. But I love how she talks about focus on relationships first. I'm seeing so many things out there with automation, so many tools, and people are figuring it out. You know it's artificial intelligence. You know it's a third-party tool just emailing you through LinkedIn and what have you. And so to build a real relationship, I think that's the name of the game in 2020. So I love what she's talking about there. I personally need to do more video. I'll be doing more moving ahead. She talks about scheduling your live videos and then repurposing them. And like I said, check out Anna Hoffman, episode 286. We really got into the nitty-gritty of repurposing. It's a great concept. It's a great way to produce content, especially if you are not super comfortable with it, if you don't have your own processes. So doing video, you can get the audio out of that. You can get that written, the transcripts pulled out for the written word, and then hand it to someone else to create slides. And you can have a lot of different mediums through one take. Okay, so check that out. And as always, check out 30daysalesgrowth.com. I'm doing some changes to that coming up in 2020. I'm also going to be doing more private coaching, more for me. But the reality is, because it's private, there's only a few people I can work with at a time. But I will be doing a little bit more of an emphasis on that. So if you're interested in getting some one-on-one time with me in 90-day sprints, hit me up, okay? Just go to thesaleswhisper.com, go to the Contact Us, and fill that out. Thanks for listening. I'll go sell something.